I just wanted this to represent me because I'm a pretty positive person, and I wanted it to be positive and kind of, you see the possibilities in the lyrics and you see the possibilities with the music. It's kind of uplifting music, but it's also, a little sad because, real life is sad sometimes. So I just wanted it to encapsulate all of that.
These days I'm feeling closer to my dreams. Been working with a team on a scheme behind the scenes, getting to the point where the person that I see and the one I thought I'd be are finally starting to agree.
So the music just totally started out on the piano. I was just playing scales and I was playing a B major scale, songs in B major. That turned into the main melody where it's like these kind of descending harmony that I was playing at the time. And I just really liked the kind of feeling of that. Threw a little bit of delay on it and a couple effects, and it became, the thing that ran throughout the entire song. Repeated over the course of the song, that gets boring and it doesn't really give it any movement or tension. I like these descending chord progressions, which means that it just kind of walks down the scale, the chords. So I just built each chord off the descending bass line, bass note, that kind of matched up with the melody. It's a very, very simple thing to do, but it's also, something that people are familiar with hearing. And so the only thing I did different was the last chord. Normally it'd be just a major chord. I made it a major seventh. Usually I would add drums, but this time I just felt like adding a bass. I wanted kind of that low end of the bass to be really smooth and kind of let my drums cut through that. So I wanted to have that down first. This whole song is about simplicity. Like, the chord progression's simple, the bass line's simple, and I really wanted something else to pick it up and kind of counterpoint those melodies. So I hopped in the booth and I thought, why don't I use a vocal melody? I really, really liked that line, and so I just kept doubling it, tripling it, and quadrupling it, and it ended up being about 10 vocals when it was all said and done. Because I wanted these ones in particular to kind of sound dreamy and sound inspirational and kind of sound like a big cloud of vocals. And one of the main effects I used to do that was I used this sound shifter pitch. It's by Waves, but any sound shifter or a pitch thing is fine. And it just pitches it up an octave. So this is what they are, this is just those pitched up vocals. You probably wouldn't pick that out on a first listening to the whole mix with everything in it, but what it really does do is it adds some nice high-end movement on there. And mixing's all about that really, really, really subtle changes, just one thing after the other, after the other, after the other, and then by the time you get done, it's something, totally different than what you started with. And I knew I had to add drums, but I had one rule. I wasn't gonna use any cymbals, I wasn't gonna use any hi-hats, and I wanted the music to really be a bed for the lyrics to sit on, so that when you're listening to it, you key in really to those lyrics. Vocal chops that I went back and loaded up on the sampler just to give it a couple extra textures. So my favorite Probably one of my favorite ones was right here, and it was just me saying, hey, yeah, 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 and I chopped it up and sped it up, and so it became this. I had this vocal that was, hey, yeah, 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 yeah. So that was the original vocal, and then I chopped it up and I played it in, and it became this. And then I also had the normal one, and that was all on the same pad, so I could play them and they were chained to each other. So if I was playing the high-pitched one, it would yeah, 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 yeah. But if I hit the other one, they would cut each other off. So it'd be yeah, 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 yeah. And that kind of gave it an interesting texture for me to play over that final chorus. All these sounds are coming from the free plugins in Pro Tools. So any producers out there, anyone doing anything, you know, I would just tell them this is all the stuff that comes free. So you know that you can always go down that road of my gear's not good enough or my, you know, whatever's not good enough. But what really matters is, are you good enough? Because if you're good enough, you can get the best sounding, the best looking, the best, most creative result from anything, because it's all about telling a story and telling an emotion, and in any creative medium, and it's never about the gear you use, it's always about the story you tell.
So if you're feeling down, hope you listen to this sound and cheer up.